Absolutely, the breakfast are there at NB 99.1 from this Friday morning. We're still keeping tabs on developments in and around the country, making sense of them. Thank you for staying tuned. Zeno.fm is the website to listen live. You can also download the online radio box app. You'll find us there. We're moving on with our topic of discussion for today, legislative impact and constituency development. Well, today we're taking a closer look at something that affects every voter, and that is legislative impact and constituency development. In simple terms, what lawmakers are doing or have done for their people. Now, we elect lawmakers to represent our interests, to speak for us and push for policies and projects that make life better. But how well do they actually deliver? Some believe that a legislator's impact is best measured by the number of bills and motions they sponsor. Others argue that what really counts is what people can see and feel. Things like roads, electricity, employment programs, and other tangible projects. Beyond the legislative chamber, another reality plays out. Politics. Politics, as we know, is never straightforward. Every now and then we hear accusations flying. Some lawmakers are called bench warmers. Others are said to be underperforming. But how much of this is fact and how much is just political rivalry playing out? One name that has come up a lot in recent discussions in this regard is Senator Nwoko, the senator representing Delta North Senatorial District. Since his defection from the People's Democratic Party to the All Progressives Congress, he has been in the spotlight, with some critics saying his impact in the senatorial district has been minimal. In fact, in one of our conversations with a PDP chieftain in Delta State, he said, and I quote, "People are buying trucks, buying buses, buying grinding machine, buying sewing machine for their constituents to make a living, to earn a living, to put food on their table. Ned has not done that," end quote. But is this true? Has the senator really not done enough? Or is this just another case of political opponents trying to discredit themselves? Now, to help us with a clear picture as to the situation of things in that area, we have Honorable Gloria Okolugbo, Director of Communications for the Office of Senator Nwoko. She joins us via phone. Good morning, Honorable Okolugbo. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning, Njideka. Thanks for having me.
Very good. And of course, we have to prompt our listeners. This is just going to be like a 15-minute interview because the Honorable has some international engagement. But let's start with the first question, because the critics have actually fired the first shot, saying that Senator Nwoko hasn't done much in terms of projects for his constituents. What's your take on that?
I would actually use this opportunity to speak to us, not necessarily because of distinguished Senator Ned alone, but as a people. I want to first thank you for giving us the right of reply on the discussions that you had. And like I told you, somebody might speak to those criticisms. But I think that it is more important for us as a people to begin to articulate where we are going to. I'm a politician myself, right? And we have been in democracy for several years now. And it's sad that our people still want to dwell on tokenism instead of deepening democracy and building our democratic institutions. Now, your topic is about legislative impact, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. That's true.
The issue, the difference when it comes to democracy is the legislative arm. In any dictatorship, you have the executive and usually you have the judiciary, because no society can survive without the judiciary and the ruling class. But the legislative arm is what helps to put checks and balances in a system. And if after all these years, we cannot find a place as a people to begin to ask that we deepen our democracy. We want to keep hanging around issues like buying grinding machine, buying stuff and tokenism. You rob the people of what is meant to be their own, and then you give them pittance, which you know that as you are distributing those things, they are buyers, the same people. As I speak to you, I'm a politician myself. I've bought keke. I have bought keke. I have bought cars for people. I was a former commissioner, right? And I know exactly what happened to those things as they left the place where they collected them. The same people you bought it from will come and buy it from these people for half the price. And I know exactly where those people are today. No improvement in their lives, except for other empowerment interventions that I had to do based on my knowledge as an NGO person. Look, we should stop kidding around as people. We should stop playing around and playing away the future of this nation on the bedrock of politics. Those are those days when legislators, in the name of constituency projects, become contractors. And then they cut away everything that should have been used for development in the name of road and road and road construction. The more you look, the less you see. All of those things have contributed zero impact to the lives of the people. We can't continue like this. All this impact that you're talking about, distinguished Senator Ned does that and even more. There are people that can give their lives for him because he has turned around the trajectory of their personal lives. Is that what the democracy is all about? Hello?
Go ahead, please.
Yeah, is that what democracy is all about? Is that what legislative impact is all about? I think that the 10th National Assembly is not doing much to actually market themselves as a group. And that's not my job to do. My job is to be the spokesperson and the communication person on behalf of distinguished Senator Ned. And I can tell you that no matter who his highest critics are, nobody can fault him when it comes to doing his basic first duty, which is as a legislator. Sponsoring bills on the floor of the National Assembly. And look at the quality of bills that he sponsors. They cut across every spectrum of society, from security to food security, to education, to finance, to moving motions that have to do with everyday existence of the. When it comes to his own side, why did he have issues at the state level? Because he was insisting that the people have a right to water, light, basic infrastructure. And as a party, we made a commitment to the people, and we must deliver on that commitment. If you look at the 10th National Assembly, it is in this time that implementation has come, and we have local government autonomy, and you have funds all over the local government to do the things that are meant to be done at the grassroots. So you would expect that democracy is deep. But unfortunately, our people begin to now even compare the legislators who fought for this bill, who pushed even with the executive, who lobbied in different ways to see this come to be, so that the people at the grassroots can feel the impact of governance. They now begin to compare the fact that you have local government chairmen who have 2 billion, 3 billion plus IGR at their disposal to legislators who are not really supposed to have access to that fund. Where are they supposed to have access to that fund? Are we encouraging them to put their hands to go around and instead of do their oversight, continue to carry money in Ghana must go so that they will bring it back and give to the people? Are we saying because the legislators carry out oversight functions? Now you have all of the parastatals appearing before them in budget defense. And we know historically that that is where legislators make a kill. They compromise themselves, they collect money from parastatals instead of doing their oversight functions to get rich. And they are mega rich. And they come back to the constituency. Instead of giving accounts and oversighting the things, the infrastructure that is supposed to come to the people, they now come back with mega funds and start doling out pittances to the people, tokens to the people. Is that what the cycle, is that what we want to continue as the people?
All right, Honorable Okolugbo, you'll be telling us what Senator Nwoko is doing differently. But if you just joined us, we are talking about legislative impact and, of course, constituency development. And we have with us on the phone line Honorable Gloria Okolugbo, Director of Communications for the Office of Senator Nwoko. And, of course, I have my colleagues here in the studio as well, Favor Gilbert and Nelson Ray. And of course, just before we proceed, we have an announcement to make. There is a fire outbreak at Biafra Market, Onitsha now. Fire service should go there now. Fire outbreak at Biafra Market, Onitsha. Please, the fire service, we are pleading with you to go to the market now. So, Honorable, please, can you tell us what he's doing differently? Because if I'm to articulate what you just said now, the problem is not really the empowerment program, but the process, that comes with it. The fact that it's sold off, when you talk about tokenism, it gives the impression that it's not really something substantial. But then again, people live with these things. People make a living with these things. But in your estimation, what is Senator Nwoko doing differently to empower the people?
Senator Nwoko's constituency offices, and indeed his office in the National Assembly that I am part of, I always describe it as a pilgrimage of some sort. And when it comes to touching lives and empowering people, basically he has been a philanthropist before he got into government. So when I talk about empowering people, I don't even quantify when it comes to human capacity development, the things that he does. And it's well documented. It's only the politicians that just want to polarize it. We have a compendium of the things that he has done. We have the scholarship programs that he has placed people on. We have those who have actually graduated and those who he puts into the schools right now as a politician. So for him, he has a history of that. It's not about that. But it's about the fact that his bills to start as a legislator, his bills run across from everything that has to do with human existence, you understand, making life easier for the people, for us as a people. For instance, he sponsored a bill where he talked about the fact that humanitarian people shouldn't be condescending. It shouldn't be handed over to people like, it's in a beggarly way. And so when he did his Christmas gift away, the Christmas and New Year, which he's still continuing, by the way, he did them house to house. We saw it was well documented. He didn't gather people together. This was last year where you saw people even lost their lives because people needed to gather them together and then do photo op for people to do. Maybe because he does not do such things. That's why people can go into the public domain. But those who are in dealt state will not say that they are not aware of the volume of giveaways that he does. It has to do with giveaway. But then talk about the real deal. He sponsored a bill in which he said that we should data. We have data footprints everywhere. We should leverage on the data that we have now to ensure that everybody who is not employed, every vulnerable person gets a payment as it is done all over the world every single month. And every single month, that payment just comes in as and when due without contacting anybody. We did advocacy visits to the National Identity Card Agency. We sat with them and we saw how far they have gone with this and the progress they have made with it. And immediately after he dropped that bill, the president actually sent an executive bill in support of that bill, asking for an agency to implement that. That is what the role of the legislator is. Now, every time that you see that they are appearing before the senators at the budget, you notice if there are people that have watched out for Senator Ned, he asks the critical questions. How many employees does Beggar have in Nigeria? How are they being paid? Why are they being paid in Naira? And then you have about 35 that are being paid much more than the entire workforce that are Nigerians. They are being paid in their own currency as expatriates. Why are we doing this to ourselves as a people? And he pushes those narratives and he's amending bills. He's asking for amendments of bills and he has pushed these bills far past second reading. Let us come down to the main issue for which he is hated in quotes in Delta State because he wants a Nyoma state for the people. And Nyoma state didn't begin with distinguished Senator Ned. Nyoma state is the only viable state that can be said that is near creation. And it's very important for our people to leverage on it because if we get a Nyoma state, it makes a whole lot of difference in the trajectory of Delta North because we know the politics involved in Delta State. Delta State has magnanimously, as it were, given a Nyoma governor one tenure. And before it will ever get to us, all they think that we should do is shut up our... We don't have water, we don't have light, we are not entitled to anything anymore because the time has passed for us to have governance. And that's not what democracy is all about. The same Senator Ned does not believe in being politically correct. And so he's more passionate about what is important for his people, better representation. And he has the ability right now to use his experience to leverage on the amendment of the Constitution to ensure that we get a Nyoma state. And so while you found the House of Representatives dilly-dallying and bringing out 30 bills, 30 states, which were eventually thrown out, he has gone earlier ahead of time and put in a provision in the Constitutional Review. By the way, he's a member of the Constitutional Review Committee. I've said that in various fora. He had put in that amendment and of its own, on its own merits. The Constitutional Review consultants picked out a Nyoma state as the only state that they have included to be one of those to be discussed and reviewed during the public hearing. So it's at the public hearing stage. So there's so much that he's been doing in so many areas that is more relevant so that the people will have better representation, the aspirations of the people to have their own state, which was supposed to have come to be 20 years ago. But because they could not balkanize the entire Nigeria, they gave us Delta with Asaba as capital. And if perchance we have the opportunity, even if it's a little window to get our own state, there's no right thinking a Nyoma person that shouldn't leverage on that window to get a state.
All right, if you want to join the conversation, 0806-878-2781. The Honorable had just a few minutes to be here. But my colleagues here also want to pose a question before you go. Favor and, of course, Nancy away.
Good morning, Honorable.
Good morning, my dear. How are you?
I'm beautiful. It's good to have you with us here this morning. Honorable, I want to ask, looking at what is happening with Ned Nwoko and of course the PDP, and then the comments that it's emanating from the PDP camp, and I am asking, I'm seeing it to a very large extent as a political toggle, but on Ned Nwoko's side, does he have a situation whereby he comes to the people he is leading, to the grassroots, and to hear their own side, whether they are experiencing proper representation, they are feeling the impact of his representation? Do you get my question?
Yes, I do, and I'm surprised at your question because even before he crossed, let's get this clear. There's an African saying that if you throw stones at every dog that barks on your way, you will not get to your destination. That ship has sailed. He has already crossed from PDP. They have lost him. Unfortunately, that was the only senator they had. And they did everything to lose him because they wanted somebody who would be a systems man. Ned Nwoko is not a systems man. And even in APC, he will never be a systems man. He has said it that he is about development. That is the reason he came into politics. And that is more important to him. The hopes and aspirations of the people must be achieved. And so if it's all about the people and he does not come to the people, how will he know what they want? I just told you that his constituency offices are like pilgrimages. Before he crossed, he came for a consultative session. He's always at Idumujuboko. He doesn't stay in Asaba. When he comes, he stays in Njideka, which gives him access to the grassroots. Everybody from around. Asaba is a little bit far. Njideka is near Iseluku, is nearer Ika, is nearer Ukwane, Obiaruku there, is nearer. Everybody doesn't have to come to the capital. And he says that he has consultative sessions. He goes round. I have personally gone to Ika with him. I have gone to Okpai, where you have the light issue.
The power project.
Yes, I've been there with him. We doesn't sit down. The pictures are in the public domain.
Right.
The programs that we have had, he goes round and the people passed a vote of confidence on him before he could make a step. There had been a lot of lobbying for him to cross.
All right, Honorable, let's hear from the people.
People agree.
Let's hear from the people before Nelson comes in. Hello, good morning.
Okay. I said my name is Njideka.
Okay.
I'm calling from Nwoko.
All right, go ahead.
Sorry, I didn't hear the introduction.
I had everything, the kids in the house. Spoke this morning. I had everything secured. But we wouldn't be here to confirm if it's true or not. Because I would have lost someone from a moment before to practice whether what she's saying is true or not. Then secondly, Ned Nwoko is doing a wonderful job. And the thing is, all the things I've seen, all the things passing, but my whole great concern is the grassroots. Is the grassroots being touched? I want somebody from that and the other side to pour into to tell us whether if they are touched or not. Because all these things are just really nothing, he's only saying something in the house, in the Senate house, that's true. Giving it. So that's my opinion this morning. Thank you.
Before you go, I need you to clarify your question. You need somebody from Anioma to clarify what specifically.
Yes, to clarify what she's saying about development and also whatever she's
the projects.
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
But she's the spokesperson, so I think she should be in a better position to know what's going on. But thank you so much. Honorable.
I really didn't hear him, so if you can just recount what he said.
We're going to do that. He says it would be better for somebody from Anioma to actually confirm what you were saying in terms of what the senator has done or not done in terms of all of the projects. He's pushing in terms of the bill and in terms of the magnanimity that is coming from him. I remember you saying that the era is like a pilgrimage of some sort, you know.
Yes, I am. Not only am I the spokesperson, my dear, I am also from Ukwane. I am from Obiaruku. So I am from Anioma land, as are most of his workers. So I can confirm that he has sponsored a corporation that does fish farming and actual farming in Obiaruku for the people. I can confirm that he has just built a mini stadium in Aniocha. I can confirm so many things. And you don't say these things by words. There's a compendium that is out there. I think you should go to his pages. They are there on his pages, nedmoko.com. Once you just put Ned Nwoko, you will see the compendium with the pictures. Pictures don't lie, and these projects are on ground, they are on site. So if we push politics aside, we can actually check and do our survey and know that it's not, you don't just come out and claim things. They have to be on ground, right? And they are on ground, and I can tell you that I am from Anioma land. I'm a daughter of Anioma myself.
Yes, sir.
All right, just a quick one there. Thanks for joining us.
Yes.
Yes, two things. Number one, I just want to ask straight a question. When was the last time he had a town hall meeting with his constituency? And of course, in some of the jobs and functions he has been carrying out, was there a kind of needs assessment program that actually determines what the people actually want, or is just going on doing empowerment programs without asking the people what they want? Secondly, political question. Is he interested to be the next governor of Delta State?
No, that's not possible. You know that Anioma is not going to be given a chance in the next donkey years. It is zoned to the Urobos, and we that's it with them. All we want is their cooperation so that we get our Neoma state. So he's not interested in being the governor of Delta State. Neither is he interested in being the governor of our Neoma state. Take that to the bank. So even when we get a Neoma state, he's not interested in the politics of being, because you see, for him, it is actually limiting, you know. Now, you also asked that when was the last time he came for his constituents. He's been there this new year. He was there before he did.
No, sorry, I'm more specific about a town hall meeting.
Go ahead.
Yes. Do you have civil society background like I do? I wish we were.
Yes, I do.
Imagine all these things from your local government chairman. I want to put you to task because we own this country. We need to build this country. And I see the local government chairman even blocking our constituency project. And I don't want to go into that political narrative. But they wouldn't have the resources they have today if not for fighting for the autonomy of local governments. You should be talking to your local government chairman, for God's sake. If we want to build this democracy, we should take them to task. They are the ones that should actually have this town hall meeting. When they didn't have the level of power they had, you had senators leaving their seats and coming to go and do contracts.
But you know, Honorable,
our senators should be more concerned about what he will bring for us from the federal. That's not to say that he should not be in touch with home. He has a constituency office. What do you think the officers in the constituency office are meant to do? He has somebody from each local government, somebody from each clan, somebody representing him from almost every ward. Because we have, as politicians, you must have word by word structure. So when you talk about needs assessment, hey, how many of our politicians have that? It's only some of us that came in with a wider outlook, like myself, quite a number of people, and then Senator Ned himself, who approaches things from a people's perspective. But most times, the legislators are just given an envelope. They're given an envelope to go and implement constituency projects. And as it should rightly be, they're not supposed to have access to, they have an access of 1 billion naira projects for the entire year, or maximum 2 billion. But I think it was even 1 billion the last year. We don't know what the envelope yet is for this year. It's coming up, but he does an open disclosure. And so everybody is, you see, make Jack look like a bad boy so that John will look like a good boy. That's what's happening. Everybody's trying to draw attention to Senator Ned. What does Senator Ned have access to for development, for God's sake? 1 billion naira for the entire year for projects, which is not entering his hand. So you have a state government that has close to 100 billion IGR plus fact share. Everyone.
Well, Honorable Okolugbo.
It makes me angry. This is not about being net spokesperson. This is about us as a people actually holding our elected persons responsible and asking for true transparency. We should stop playing to the gallery. We should actually hold these people responsible for the acts that they do while they are in office, not because they give us handouts.
Well, unfortunately, this is where we are at the moment. You cannot actually exclude constituency project because these are expectations from the people. And for the legislators, for the legislators, Honorable,
so that you will take away attention from the more pertinent things. We have water, we have a dam in Ogwashuku. Why, for God's sake, can we not have water treatment? We have had light in Opai for over 19 years, and we cannot step it down for the people. That can happen in Ijaw land. That can even happen in Yoruba land. And our people take it, and somebody gets up and says, no, this has to stop, and he becomes a politically incorrect person. And everybody starts asking him, where is your constituency project? Meanwhile, he's asking you, what did you put in the budget for Delta North? That's my job. I have to ensure that you put enough projects in Delta North. That's my job for you to do your bit. That's his job, to oversight the executive.
Honorable Okolugbo, I think we need to have a serene conversation so that the people who are at the receiving end in terms of representation can actually understand what is in there for them. Because it would seem that the discussion is stretching to what the Delta State government is doing or not doing. But the question is, just hold on, Honorable. Hold on, Honorable.
This conversation will not go there. Because to start with, you had two government officials who came to speak. And I had my right of reply.
No.
I said to you, this is not about a right of reply. I'm more focused on what we should do as a people. I am not particularly answering to this conversation, leaving what I was doing that I explained to you, basically because I want to start an argument over executive executive rascality when it comes to Delta North, because that's what I describe it as. You cannot neglect Delta North. And no matter what you do for the rest of the people, Delta North voter, for every Delta North voter that voted for the governor, has a right to life and good livelihood. So you cannot say that I should speak about it without addressing that. If I wish to address that, it is within my right to address that. I'm also a Warri girl. I went to FGC Warri. I'm happy about all what is going on in Warri. I will not indict him on that. But he stands indicted in Delta North. Look at the budget. Look at the appropriation bill of 2025. It's a mess when it comes to Delta North. It's unfair. It's completely unfair.
Okay.
And we're not holding him to account. And then we're talking about everybody just wants to focus on the man that says, look, we should do it right. But that's the country for you. That's the country we find ourselves. So how do we move forward?
You know what I was actually driving at, Honorable, is the fact that the question was quite simple. In terms of needs assessment, okay, is there any needs assessment for you to determine what the people truly want? Because at the end of the day, it's going to be like a waste if you embark on a project and that's not what people want or need. All right, and you came in with what the government is doing or not doing, which was why I tried to retrace you from that step you were taking. But then again, if you want to continue with what the government is doing or not doing, some people will say that your principle is quite fixated when it comes to that power project at Opai. I mean, the explanation had been quite simple.
No, as he should be, as he rightly should be. Why wouldn't he be fixated? Your job, for instance, your business, this phone that you're holding, how much can you do without electricity? Do you know how much difference it will make in the lives of people once we have 24 hours electricity? I was Commissioner Energy, and I went to sign an MOU on behalf of Delta State government in Canada. We had funders who had come together as a consortium, and they had, as at that time, which is over 10 years, about 10 years ago, they had been waiting to move into Nigeria for 9 years. And we signed an MOU. And it took an Anioma governor to toss that MOU aside. And he signed 100 megawatts. We signed an MOU for 1,000 megawatts. I didn't stay long enough on that seat. But we had signed an MOU for 1,000 megawatts, and we had sourced contractor investors on a PPP basis to come and give us 24 hours light. It was tossed aside for Chinese to come and give 100 megawatts, which never saw the light of day. That was because I didn't have the capacity or the urgency to insist on this Opai thing. For the first time, some government official who knows that he's not interested in 10 million naira salary, who rejected a car, who is comfortable for himself, can challenge the system and say, sorry, I don't need anything from government. I only need this light to be stepped down. And that becomes too much to ask. For the first time, we have somebody who is not afraid of being politically incorrect and to insist that it is done. Where is it? How
You know, but when the state simply explains that that is the work of the federal government, the state cannot commit to it.
Njideka, please. We have the governor on video stating that the roads that are federal government roads, he couldn't care less. It is his people that are using the roads, and he will fund them and he will do them. Why is it Okpai that is a double standard? Okpai that is light. Let us be practical.
All right.
Honest, there's something wrong somewhere. Let's be practical.
Well, you also have to look at the amount he's proposing, 35 billion, can a state commit to that?
Is that what?
Hello?
On roads in Central? Is 35 billion more than over 200 billion being expended on roads in Central? See, governance is about fair distribution of resources. That's what it's about. Fair distribution of resources across board.
Okay, let's quickly touch on this Anyoma. Of course, there are other things, but for want of time.
I had more than 15 minutes. I won't go carry away myself. I wish I had all of the time.
Okay, just this one.
I usually get emotional, but today, maybe because I feel I have few minutes.
Okay.
I really need to go.
Just the last question in terms of Anyoma before you go. Some people think that this is not achievable. It's just something political to spur the sentiment of Anyoma people. It's not even achievable. What do you think about that?
I was at the Constitutional Review conference meeting in Kano. Not that anybody told me. And I have said that in various fora within Anyoma land to give people confidence that this is not a mirage. This is for real. Even when it was just senators and their consultants, the single Senator Ned ensured that I was in that meeting, even when it was not covered by the media, so that I understand what is going on, so I can disseminate that information. And I've been disseminating it. To start with, the National Assembly is actually poised to amend this constitution. If you see, given the House of Reps that you can see that tossed out all those states that were not properly presented, has just rolled out a set of bills for constitutional amendment. The Senate has had several bills, shortlisted. Yeah. Among them is Anyoma, and they have actually sat on those at the preliminary stage, and so it is at public hearing stage now. That's how far it has gone. It has never come up to the stage of public hearing before. There are some bills that they passed over from other, from the Ninth Assembly, so that they will reconsider them. They were to consider them for constitutional review, which they didn't do. They didn't succeed. But at least this National Assembly has put a time frame to it, and they insist that they want to amend this constitution, which is overdue for amendment. So we know that it is a difficult procedure, but it is not an impossible procedure, and they have gone far with the procedure. So why are we the ones who should be lobbying for it to come to pass? We are the ones that are filling the atmosphere with pessimism that does not exist. Let me tell you where it comes from. It's just coming from people that would have liked to take the glory or continue to be the lords and masters of Anyoma, who are not at the center of it. But this is not about anybody being in the center of anything. This is the collective heritage of the people, the collective aspiration of a people.
Right. Right.
We are at the public hearing stage. It is not a mirage. It is before the Constitutional Review Committee. And after public hearing, we will only need 24 states assemblies to assent. So even if Delta State Assembly decides not to assent because there is a button, somebody said there's a button somewhere that is probably controlling the narrative in Delta. So even if Delta State Assembly does not assent, once we have 24, the Constitution will be reviewed, and along with it, all the provisions. And what matters is what the people say at the public hearing. And the people are very eager to come. And we're going to watch the public hearing, and we're going to see what the people actually want, whether they want Anioma or not.
All right, so I think I'll have to leave it here and keep monitoring things. I don't know whether to say good luck to you and your principal regarding that particular bill, and of course all the projects being overseen by him.
I can see, right? If you are not from Anioma, at least you are an Igbo in Njideka.
Right.
So I'm sure you would like us to have Anioma too. So thank you for the good luck.
Well, I don't know. But we have been speaking with Honorable Gloria Okolugbo, Director of Communications for the Office of Senator Nwoko, Senator representing Delta North. Thank you, Honorable, so much for joining us.
Thank you. It's been my pleasure, everybody.
Right. Have a great day.
Have a great day, too.
That's been the show for this week. I want to appreciate everybody who joined the conversation, talking Nigeria as always. And next week, that conversation will continue to then. My name is Njideka, and of course, thank you, Nelson. See you again.
And I am favored. Thank you for listening.